The great hall of the Galactic Council gleamed under the light of 3 artificial suns. The massive chamber, built to hold representatives of over 200 spacefaring species, buzzed with excited whispers. Today was supposed to be Earth's presentation of their military capabilities, specifically their stealth technology, as part of their application to join the Defense Coalition. Admiral James Gray stood straight and tall in his crisp white uniform, a stark contrast against the colorful and elaborate outfits of the alien representatives. At 60 years old, his hair had turned completely white, but his blue eyes remained sharp and alert. He couldn't help but notice how the alien representatives looked at him, some with amusement, others with barely hidden contempt. The human delegation may now present their stealth capabilities, announced the council speaker, a tall being covered in iridescent scales. Gray stepped forward to the central platform. A holographic display sparked to life around him, showing technical specifications of Earth's latest stealth ships. Thank you, honored council. Earth is proud to present our Mark VI stealth system, capable of reducing ship signatures by 99.7% across all known detection spectrums. The laughter started small. A chuckle from the Ringed World section, a snort from the Crystal Collective's ambassador. Within moments, it spread across the chamber like a wave, until nearly every alien representative was showing their species' version of amusement. Commander Blue, the 7-foot-tall chief strategist of the Stellar Empire, rose from his seat. His deep violet skin seemed to pulse with barely contained mirth. Forgive us, Admiral Gray, but are you seriously presenting this primitive technology to the Council? Gray's face remained perfectly neutral. These are our current official specifications, yes. Blue's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he activated his own holographic display. Let me educate you, Admiral. Our basic civilian scanners can detect a ship using your stealth technology from 50 light-years away. Even your smallest scout would shine like a beacon to our systems. More laughter filled the chamber. A representative from the Silicon Mines Collective spoke up, their mechanical voice filled with artificial amusement. Perhaps we should explain how real stealth technology works. My species mastered quantum field manipulation thousands of years ago. Gray stood there, letting the mockery wash over him. His only reaction was a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth, not quite a smile, but close. This is what real stealth looks like, Commander Blue announced, displaying complex equations and technical specifications that made several human observers in the gallery wince. Our newest ships can bend radiation around their hulls. We can absorb or redirect any scan. We can. We appreciate the lesson. Gray interrupted politely. Earth acknowledges that we have much to learn from the galactic community. This brought another round of laughter. Commander Blue leaned forward, his violet skin now rippling with patterns of superiority and amusement. Admiral, let me be direct. Your application to join the Defense Coalition requires you to bring something of value to our alliance. He waved his hand dismissively at the human specifications. This is something my species' children could design in their sleep cycles. Gray nodded slowly. I understand, Commander. We will, of course, accept whatever decision the Council makes. Then I move to delay Earth's application until they can develop actually useful military technology, Blue announced to the chamber, perhaps in another century or two. The motion passed almost unanimously, with only a few smaller races abstaining. As Gray gathered his materials to leave, Commander Blue approached him. Don't take it personally, Admiral, Blue said, placing one of his 4 arms on Gray's shoulder. Every young species goes through this phase, thinking they've developed something special, only to learn they're centuries behind the rest of the galaxy. It's part of growing up. Gray looked up at the alien commander and finally allowed himself a small smile. Thank you for your kindness, Commander. Earth looks forward to growing up. As he left the chamber, Gray touched the communication device in his pocket. A simple text message went out. They bought it. Proceed with Phase 2. The real show was about to begin. Back on Earth, Deep within a mountain complex in Colorado, Admiral Gray sat at the head of a large conference table. The room, despite being underground, felt spacious and well-lit. Holographic displays showed various star maps and ship designs along the walls. "So they laughed at us?" Dr. Stone asked, her weathered face crinkling with amusement. At 55, she had spent the last 20 years leading humanity's most secret research project. Her simple black uniform bore no markings except a small badge that read Special Projects Division. "Not just laughed," Gray replied, pouring himself a cup of coffee. They practically fell out of their seats. Commander Blue was especially entertained by our primitive technology. General Walker, head of Earth's Joint Military Command, leaned forward. His dark skin contrasted with his silver hair, and his eyes sparkled with interest. "Did any of them suspect anything?" "Not a thing," Gray said, taking a sip from his cup. They were too busy feeling superior to notice that our presentation only showed them exactly what they expected to see. The room's main display lit up, showing the ghost ship prototype floating in its secret dock. Unlike regular military vessels with their sharp angles and obvious weapon mounts, the Ghost looked almost organic. Its dark hull seemed to shift and flow, making it hard for even the human eye to focus on it. Dr. Stone stood and walked to the display. "Project Shadow Walker is ready. The Ghost has passed every test we've thrown at it. The aliens' detection systems don't just fail to spot it, they don't even realize there's anything to look for." "Explain it again," Walker requested. "In simple terms." Stone nodded. "The aliens focus on hiding their ships, bending light around them, absorbing radar, masking engine signatures. But we took a different approach. Instead of trying to hide, we made our ships simply not exist as far as sensors are concerned." "Like a hole in reality," Gray added. "Exactly," Stone agreed. "Their sensors can't detect our ships because, to their instruments, there's literally nothing to detect. It's the difference between hiding behind a wall and being in a room that everyone's brain is programmed to ignore." Walker smiled. "And now they think we're centuries behind them." "Better yet," Gray said, "they've dropped their guard completely. The collective is planning a major military exercise right on our border. Officially, it's routine training. Unofficially, they want to show off," Walker finished. "Rub our noses in their superiority." Dr. Stone's eyes lit up. "It's the perfect opportunity. They'll have their best detection equipment, their most advanced ships, and their most skilled operators all focused on trying to spot any human vessels that might be observing them." Gray stood and walked to the window overlooking the underground dock where the Ghost waited. "Commander Blue will be there personally. He's bringing the pride of the Stellar Empire's fleet to demonstrate just how easily they can spot any human ship that dares to come close." "Should we warn them?" Walker asked, though his grin suggested he already knew the answer. "About what?" Gray replied innocently. "According to official records, we're just a primitive species with outdated technology. It would be rude of us to interrupt their important exercise." Dr. Stone checked her tablet. "The Ghost's crew is ready. Captain Rice has run more simulations than any other pilot in the program. He could probably fly through their formation blindfolded." "Then let's not keep our alien friends waiting," Gray said. "Send the order. Let's show them what primitive humans can do." As the others left the room, Gray stayed behind for a moment, looking at the Ghost. The ship's hull rippled slightly, like heat waves off hot pavement. Soon, the aliens would learn a lesson about underestimating humanity. But more importantly, they would learn why humans had smiled so politely at their mockery. Sometimes, the best strategy was to let your opponents think they were winning, right up until the moment they realized they'd lost. The space near Jupiter's orbit sparkled with the lights of over 300 alien ships. They moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the distant sunlight. Each vessel represented the peak of their species' technology, brought together for the largest military exercise in the sector's history. Commander Blue stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Dawn, watching the assembled fleet with all four of his eyes. His violet skin rippled with patterns of pride as he observed ships from 20 different species moving in perfect coordination. "Status report," he ordered, his translator making his alien words clear to everyone on the bridge. "All ships are in position, Commander," his second-in-command reported. "Long-range sensors are active and covering a sphere 50 light-years in diameter. Nothing larger than a dust particle could approach without us knowing." Blue nodded in satisfaction. "And our guests? Earth's observation satellites are exactly where they're supposed to be, at the edge of their system, watching us. Their primitive sensors can barely see our ships at this distance." The commander smiled, showing rows of perfectly white teeth. "Good. Let's give them something to watch. Begin exercise pattern Alpha." The assembled fleet broke into smaller groups, each performing complex maneuvers that showed off their speed and coordination. Energy beams and practice torpedoes flew between ships in carefully controlled patterns. Every few minutes, ships would engage their stealth systems, disappearing from view only to reappear elsewhere in the formation. "Quite a show, isn't it?" Blue asked a visiting admiral from the Crystal Collective. "I made sure to position us where Earth's satellites would have the best view." The crystalline admiral chimed in amusement, light refracting through their transparent body. "Those poor humans. Imagine their frustration, watching ships vanish and reappear at will, knowing they're centuries away from such technology." Speaking of watching, Blue turned to his sensor officer, any sign of human ships trying to get a closer look. The officer checked their displays. "No, Commander. Though with their technology, we'd spot them long before they got anywhere near us." "Almost disappointing," Blue mused. "I was hoping they'd try something foolish. It would have been amusing to embarrass them again." The exercise continued for hours. Ships performed increasingly complex maneuvers, showing off stealth systems, weapon accuracy, and formation flying that would have been impossible for less advanced species. The aliens took special pleasure in demonstrating their sensor networks, detecting and tracking practice drones from incredible distances. "Commander," one of the sensor officers called out, "I'm picking up some odd readings." Blue turned his attention to the officer's station. "What kind of readings?" "Just empty spots, like perfectly blank areas in space, but when I try to focus sensors on them, there's nothing there." "Sensor malfunction." "Possibly." The officer adjusted some controls. "The blank spots seem to move, but there's no pattern to it. And they're gone as soon as I try to get a better scan." Blue waved a hand dismissively. "Run a diagnostic. Probably just feedback from all the stealth systems we're running." "Yes, Commander." The officer hesitated. "Though, I've never seen feedback quite like this before." "Are you suggesting something could be out there that our sensors can't detect?" Blue asked, his skin rippling with patterns of amusement. "Remember, we can spot any ship within 50 light-years. The only ships out here are part of our fleet." "Of course, Commander. Running diagnostics now." Blue turned back to watch the fleet's maneuvers, dismissing the officer's concerns. After all, their sensors were the most advanced in known space. If something was out there, they would know about it. Behind him, the sensor officer frowned at their display, watching another perfectly empty spot drift through space. For just a moment, they thought they saw something in that emptiness, a shadow darker than space itself, moving with deliberate purpose. But that was impossible, wasn't it? The military exercise entered its final phase. Commander Blue's flagship, the Imperial Dawn, moved to the center of the alien fleet. Its massive hull, nearly 2 miles long, dwarfed most other ships around it. The perfect position for his upcoming speech to be broadcast across all frequencies, including those that Earth's satellites could pick up. Inside the Ghost, Captain Rice sat perfectly still in his command chair. The bridge was dark, lit only by the soft glow of essential systems. His crew worked in near silence, their movements careful and precise. They had been moving through the alien fleet for the past 4 hours, getting closer and closer to Blue's flagship. "Position," Rice whispered, though he knew the sound couldn't travel outside their ship. 10 meters off their port bow, his navigator replied just as quietly. The habit of speaking softly had become second nature to the Ghost's crew. We could reach out and touch them if we had arms long enough. Rice allowed himself a small smile. The alien ship's bridge was clearly visible through their viewports. He could see Commander Blue gesturing as he prepared to address the fleet. None of the aliens had any idea that a human ship larger than most of their cruisers was literally parked next to their flagship. "All systems nominal," reported the engineering officer. "Phase field is stable. We're still just a hole in space to their sensors." On the Imperial Dawn's bridge, Commander Blue raised his arms for attention. His skin rippled with patterns of supreme confidence as he began his speech. The broadcast went out on all frequencies, making sure even the distant human satellites would catch every word. "My fellow warriors of the Galactic Defense Coalition," Blue's voice boomed across space. "Today we have demonstrated the pinnacle of our technological achievement. Our sensors, our stealth systems, our coordination, all of it far beyond what younger races could imagine." Rice checked his chronometer. "Almost time. Some of you may wonder why we chose to conduct this exercise so close to Earth." Blue continued, his tone becoming smugly amused. "Let me be honest. We wanted to show our primitive neighbors exactly what real spacefaring technology looks like." The alien commander walked closer to his viewport, looking out at the assembled fleet. Unknown to him, he was now standing less than 5 meters from the Ghost's hull. "The humans thought they could impress us with their childish attempts at stealth technology." Blue laughed. "Technology that our sensors can defeat from 50 light-years away. Technology so primitive that we would spot any human ship foolish enough to try observing our exercise up close." Captain Rice pressed a button on his chair. "All stations, prepare for reveal. Weapon systems remain offline. We're here to make a point, not start a war. Perhaps in a century or two," Blue was saying, "the humans will advance enough to begin understanding how hopeless their current technology truly is. Perhaps then." "Now," Rice commanded. The Ghost's phase field dropped. The massive human ship materialized out of nowhere, its dark hull suddenly visible against the stars. It hung there, barely a stone's throw from the Imperial Dawn's bridge, close enough that the aliens could read the ship's name painted in crisp white letters on its hull. Commander Blue's speech cut off mid-word. His violet skin went so pale it was almost white. All 4 of his eyes widened as he stared directly at the human vessel that had been invisible to every sensor in his fleet. The silence that followed was absolute. 300 alien ships, the pride of the Galactic Defense Coalition, watched in stunned disbelief as they realized a human ship had penetrated the heart of their formation without any of their advanced technology detecting it. Captain Rice opened a channel to the Imperial Dawn. He kept his voice casual, as if commenting on the weather. "Lovely speech, Commander. Though you might want to revise the part about spotting human ships from 50 light-years away. We've been parked right next to you for the past 4 hours." The only response was the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. Presumably Commander Blue fainting. Chaos erupted across the alien fleet. Emergency alarms blared on hundreds of ships as their crews scrambled to battle stations. Sensor operators frantically recalibrated their equipment, trying to understand how they had missed something so massive for so long. On the Imperial Dawn's bridge, Commander Blue was helped back to his feet by 2 junior officers. His violet skin still hadn't returned to its normal color, showing patches of pale lavender that indicated extreme shock. He stared through the viewport at the human ship, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. "This is impossible." The Ghost hung motionless in space, its dark hull now clearly visible against the stars. The human ship was beautiful in a strange way, sleek and organic-looking, unlike the angular designs preferred by most species. Its surface seemed to ripple occasionally, like waves on a black ocean. "Sir," one of Blue's officers called out, panic in their voice. "Sensors still can't get a clear reading on the human ship. It's It's like the sensors are trying to look around it, like their programming tells them there's nothing there to scan. Captain Rice's voice came over the communication channel again, still calm and professional. "Don't worry about your sensors, Commander. They're working perfectly fine. They just can't see what doesn't exist, at least as far as they're concerned." Blue finally found his voice. "How? How did you do this? Would you like a demonstration?" Rice asked. Before Blue could respond, the ghost vanished again. Not with the flashy energy distortion of normal stealth technology, but by simply ceasing to be there. One moment it was visible. The next it was gone, as if it had never existed. "Where did they go?" Blue demanded, his skin now showing patterns of fear. "Track them." "Sir, we can't." The sensor officer started. The ghost reappeared, this time on the opposite side of the Imperial Dawn. Then it vanished again, reappearing above the flagship, then below. Each time, it moved without any sign of engine power, without any trace on sensors, without anything to indicate how it was moving. "Stop," Blue ordered. "Please, stop." The ghost reappeared in its original position. Captain Rice's voice held a hint of amusement. "Now imagine, Commander, if we had wanted to do more than just prove a point. Imagine if this had been a real combat situation. The implications hit everyone on the bridge at once. The human ship could have destroyed the Imperial Dawn at any time. It could have fired weapons from point-blank range before anyone knew it was there. The entire alien fleet, with all its advanced technology, had been completely vulnerable. Your sensors can detect ships from 50 light-years away," Rice continued. "Impressive. But tell me, Commander, what good is that when you can't detect a ship 5 meters from your own bridge?" Blue sank into his command chair. "The Council. They need to know about this." "Oh, they will," Rice assured him. "Admiral Gray sends his regards, by the way. He wanted me to thank you personally for the— what was it? The lesson about real spacefaring technology." Around the Imperial Dawn, other ships in the fleet were still trying to lock their sensors onto the ghost. Some had their weapons armed, but no one dared fire. Not when they couldn't be sure where the human ship would appear next. "One more thing," Rice added. "You might want to consider something. If one human ship could do this, how do you know we don't have more?" That question sent fresh waves of panic through the alien fleet. Every captain, every sensor operator, every crew member suddenly had the same terrifying thought. How many other human ships might be out there right now, watching them, completely undetectable? The exercise, meant to demonstrate alien superiority, had turned into something very different, a lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity. The emergency session of the Galactic Council looked very different from the meeting where they had mocked human technology. Gone were the laughs and sneers. Now the alien representatives sat in tense silence as Admiral Gray stood at the center platform. The same holographic displays that had drawn their ridicule before now showed detailed footage of the ghost appearing and disappearing around Commander Blue's flagship. Every few seconds, someone would glance nervously at the chamber's entrances, as if expecting another human ship to materialize out of thin air. "I believe," Gray said calmly, "that the Council has some questions about our stealth capabilities." Commander Blue, his violet skin still showing stress patterns, stood up. "How? How did you do it? No known technology can hide a ship that completely." Gray gestured, and Dr. Stone walked to join him on the platform. She carried a small device in her hand, about the size of a coffee cup. "The problem," Stone began, "wasn't that our technology was primitive. The problem was that you all assumed there was only one way to achieve stealth in space." She activated the device. A small area of space next to her simply ceased to exist. Not empty space, but a complete absence of space itself. "You focused on hiding ships," she continued, "making them invisible, absorbing sensor waves, bending light. But we asked a different question. What if, instead of hiding something that exists, we could make it simply not exist?" The device deactivated, and the missing space returned to normal. Several council members leaned forward, their various alien features showing intense interest. Quantum phase shifting? Asked the Silicon Mines representative. No, Stone replied. Though that was our starting point. We discovered something new, a way to temporarily shift matter into what we call a null state. Our ships don't need to hide from sensors because, when our system is active, they literally don't exist in normal spacetime. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Gray took over the explanation. Think of it like this, he said. If you want to hide something in a room, you can try to make it invisible, or you can create a spot in the room that everyone's brain simply refuses to acknowledge. Not invisible, just not there at all. Impossible, someone shouted. The energy requirements alone would be massive, Stone agreed, if we were trying to brute force it like your stealth systems do. But we're not fighting against the laws of physics, we're stepping sideways around them. She brought up new diagrams, showing the basic principles in terms the aliens could understand. The council chamber went completely silent as the implications became clear. That's why our ships seem primitive on your scans, Gray explained. You're scanning our regular ships, the ones we let you see, the ones with the technology you expected us to have. Blue's skin rippled with realization patterns. The specifications you showed us before were exactly what you expected to see. Gray nodded. Old-fashioned stealth technology that any advanced race would laugh at. After all, if you were convinced we were centuries behind you, we wouldn't look for anything more advanced. Blue finished. His skin now showed patterns of embarrassment and respect. Dr. Stone deactivated her displays. We didn't lie to the council. We just let you make assumptions about our capabilities. Assumptions that worked in our favor. And now? Asked the council speaker. Now, Gray said, we're hoping to join the Defense Coalition as equal partners. We have much to learn from you in many areas of technology. But perhaps we have something to learn from you as well, Blue admitted. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Species that had mocked humanity hours before were now urgently whispering among themselves, reevaluating everything they thought they knew about human technology. Gray and Stone shared a small smile. Sometimes the best way to teach a lesson wasn't through force or humiliation, but by letting others discover their own mistakes. And humanity had just taught the galaxy a lesson it wouldn't soon forget. 1 month after the Ghost's dramatic revelation, Earth's admission to the Defense Coalition passed with unanimous approval. The ceremony took place in the same chamber where human technology had once been mocked. Now, the room was filled with a very different kind of energy, respect, curiosity, and more than a little nervousness. Admiral Gray stood at the center of the chamber, watching as Commander Blue personally presented Earth's membership credentials. The alien commander's violet skin showed complex patterns of humility and admiration, a far cry from his previous smugness. The Defense Coalition welcomes Earth as a full member, Blue announced formally. Your unique approach to technology will be a valuable addition to our alliance. As Gray accepted the credentials, he noticed several alien representatives glancing around the chamber suspiciously. Everyone was wondering the same thing. Were there any Ghost-class ships present right now, watching invisibly from within the chamber itself? Thank you, Commander, Gray replied with a polite smile, neither confirming nor denying their suspicions. Let them wonder. After the ceremony, Blue approached Gray in a quieter corner of the chamber. I owe you an apology, Admiral. My behavior during your first presentation was unworthy. No apology needed, Commander. In fact, your reaction was exactly what we hoped for. Blue's skin rippled with surprise patterns. You wanted us to underestimate you. Sometimes the best advantage is letting others think they have the advantage, Gray explained. Though I admit, watching you faint when the ghost appeared was an unexpected bonus. I did not faint, Blue protested, his skin flushing a deeper violet. I temporarily lost my balance due to surprise. They shared a moment of genuine laughter, something that would have been impossible just a month ago. In another part of the chamber, Dr. Stone was surrounded by alien scientists, all eager to learn more about human phase technology. She answered their questions patiently, though she noticed they seemed frustrated by her simplified explanations. "But how does it actually work?" demanded a Silicon Mind scientist. "The energy equations don't make sense." "Perhaps," Stone suggested, "that's because you're trying to understand it using your existing technological framework. Sometimes you need to forget what you know to learn something new." The message wasn't lost on her audience. The aliens had been so convinced of their technological superiority that they'd failed to consider alternative approaches. Their own advanced technology had, ironically, limited their thinking. As the day drew to a close, Gray stood at a viewport, looking out at the stars. Captain Rice's voice came through his private communicator. "Everything okay down there, Admiral?" Gray smiled. The Ghost was maintaining station above the council building, invisible to every sensor in the sector. "Perfect, Captain. Though our friends are still trying to figure out if there are any of our ships in the chamber." "Are there?" "Now that would be telling," Gray chuckled. "How are our new allies doing with their sensor suites?" "Still trying," Rice reported. "They've modified their systems 3 times today. They're getting creative, I'll give them that." "Good. Let them keep trying. It's healthy for them to know there's always more to learn." The admission ceremony ended with a message that would be remembered throughout the galaxy. Never assume that technological advancement only moves in one direction. While the aliens had focused on making their existing technology better, humanity had simply found a different path. As Gray prepared to leave, Commander Blue approached him one last time. "Tell me honestly, Admiral, are there any ghost ships in this chamber right now?" Gray gave him the same small smile he'd worn during that first presentation. "Commander, if I told you, it would spoil all the fun. Let's just say, maybe there are, and maybe there aren't. Not knowing is part of the lesson, isn't it?" Blue's skin rippled with amused resignation. The humans had taught them all a valuable lesson about humility, and they'd done it without firing a single shot. Sometimes, the greatest victories come not from proving your strength, but from letting others discover their own weakness.